On this week's Flames Central, Liberty Athletics continues its rise to prominence, and Flames football players are using the summer to get jacked.
Plus, we check in with Liberty Volleyball and bring you the story of a bodybuilder who's impacting people through his sport. This is Flames Central, and it starts now.
Other than the pool or the beach, where else would you be than right here with us right now? Welcome into Flames Central. He's Rhett. I'm Matt, and we have a great show lined up for you today.
Yeah, have we ever considered doing a show from the beach?
Oh, not bad. We might want to try that.
That might be something to think about. Well, each and every week we bring you stories highlighting the success of Liberty Athletics, and this week is no different.
Yeah, around here, the Flames have used this mantra, rise with us, and in the past few years, Liberty's established itself as one of the top 75 athletic departments in the nation. Need proof? Well, here you go. It was announced this past week that Liberty ranked 74th in the final 2021-22 Learfield Directors Cup rankings. Now, this annual list ranks the top collegiate athletic departments, and it's the second straight year that Liberty has landed inside the top 75. To take it a step further, Liberty ranked 13th in the country among non-Power 5 programs. The Flames were led this season by field hockey, which reached the national championship game. Football won its third straight bowl game. Golf made the national championship. And both baseball and softball, they each reached NCAA regionals.
We just heard Matt say that Liberty football has won 3 straight bowl games. And a big reason for their success is the athletes' dedication to their craft during the summer months. Countless Flames have transformed their bodies into elite machines behind the guidance of head football strength and conditioning coach Dom Studzinski.
It was crazy because like how big I have got, muscle-wise, and the weight I gained.
I was a baby when I first got here. Obviously, I had the Michelin man type body.
I was actually in shock because I didn't think I was that small when I first came in, but looking at how like big I got on the transformation, it was like, oh, I actually was kind of small.
Photos will help them just kind of say, look, now I've done the work, I've put it in. Here is what I've gotten out of it. So that's just one metric that we track, and it helps out because it's one that you can see right away.
He pays attention to what each group of players needs, like not just what you need specifically, but what you need to be best in your position.
He believes in this program, and I do too, so just honing in and being diligent, consistent for 2 years, it naturally took care of itself, but there was a lot of hard days to do that.
Nutrition has helped so much. Like, before I got here, I didn't really know how to, eat right or how much to eat in order to feed my muscles after working out and stuff. This is one of my favorite stations right here. Come on.
I mean, education is at the core of what we do as sports dietitians. It's like that is our purpose of being here. And if you can get somebody, especially these guys, to understand like why we're doing this and how it's benefiting you and how it's going to take you from where we are right now to winning 10 and 11 games, 12 games in a season.
We work really well together in the sense of that everything is structured and is structured around what we do and how they recover from that.
You're either feeding the beast or you're hurting the beast. And the small changes over time have made such a huge difference. And it is obvious when you look at everyone's transformation that she's played a huge part in as well.
My confidence is very high because I thought I was kind of like small, and now I feel like I can compete and I look the part. I'm gonna play the part. I have the muscles to like battle and keep going against like other guys.
I've never weighed so much, and then being able to move and still be able to play at the same potential that I was playing at when I was smaller, it's just cool to see the transformation actually like in action.
Changes everything. As your body comp changes, you can move so much better at the same weight or even more. So running faster while being stronger and having more muscle naturally is going to give you an advantage. And it is night and day with how I felt when I first got here and how I feel now. So I'm excited to see what happens in the future because we have a great culture going on and a great group of guys coming in.
Amazing to see the work that these guys put in. One position group comes to mind. I know every position group buys in, but the defensive line, like guys like Trayshawn Clark, Darrell Johnson, Kendi Charles, already big lads when they're coming into this program, but the muscle that they put on and then the speed that they gain, no wonder they're getting as many sacks as they are.
Yeah, no doubt. And we appreciate you modeling for this photo as well.
Exactly.
I wanted to mention that. But no, it's all encompassing, right? It's not just throwing weights around the weight room. You see the nutrition part of it, a very scientific approach, and it's paying off for the Flames.
Yeah, it sure is. Hey, if you want to see the fruits of their labor, we've got the solution for you. Jump online and purchase Liberty Flames football season tickets. Be the first to enjoy the new seating additions to Williams Stadium. Plus, it is the best home schedule in program history, with the Flames hosting the likes of Virginia Tech and BYU. Visit lufootball.com to get your tickets today.
All right, let's keep talking football, albeit north of the border. About a month ago, we brought you the story of Frankie Hixson, former Liberty running back who for 2 years had been trying to latch on with a pro team, any pro team, and finally got the chance with the CFL's Saskatchewan Roughriders. Well, he is making the most of the opportunity thus far. Hixson has established himself as the #2 back for the Roughriders, and through 4 games, he's averaging almost 6 yards per carry while also making a few big plays through the air. It's a great story about a guy who never gave up on his dream, and certainly we're all happy for his success up north. All right, we switch gears now to volleyball. It was an up-and-down campaign for the Lady Flames a year ago, so as they prepare for the fall, they're focusing on getting stronger both mentally and physically. Rhett paid them a visit this week to learn more.
After a year that saw Liberty Volleyball battle injury and fall short of their goal of a deep run in the ASUN tournament, the Flames are working hard towards establishing themselves as one of the top teams in the ASUN. For head coach Trevor Johnson, it all starts with the team's mindset.
I think it's just they have to know that they are good, and I feel like we just have this idea that when we play these better teams in our conference, it's like, well, like they're good and they're supposed to be there. It's like, well, no, like we're supposed to be there, and I think just having the mentality of, hey, we need to act like we're the #1 team, in the conference. Every day we train, every day we lift. So I think it's just flipping the script and just having that mentality that, like, hey, we are good, and so we can't worry about anybody else. I think our toughest opponent really is ourselves. So I think the more that we can gel and become a team, and not worry about anybody else, it's going to help us in the long run.
Confidence is key, and to establish that, they're focusing on their work ethic, whether it be on the court or in the weight room.
We got to outwork everyone, and that was the main focus. And someone is always nipping at your butt, and someone is always right there on your heels, ready to outwork you. So I think the challenge for us was just to be the best versions of ourselves. And when you feel like quitting or you feel like not doing an extra rep, just know that someone else is going to be pushing even harder. So I think the focus was, hey, we got a pretty good team and we just got to work really, really hard.
Leadership is invaluable, and with a new group of transfers and freshmen joining the Flames this offseason, leadership came up with one word to get everyone on the same page.
This year it's honor, and actually Amelia Preston, brought this to us. Just biblically, how we're going to honor our teammates and how we're going to honor Liberty University with how we conduct ourselves, and how we're going to honor the sport of volleyball and just giving it our best.
Looking forward to watching the Lady Flames this fall. All right, turning our attention to Liberty Baseball, there are not many people who love the game more than head coach Scott Jackson. His love for America's pastime all started with his family.
Liberty head baseball coach Scott Jackson has long had a passion for the game. And part of the reason he loves baseball so much is due to someone very much like himself.
I have a twin brother, so it's hard to play this sport if you don't have somebody to play catch with and to throw BP to you and, compete with, obviously. So if it wasn't for my brother, I may not be sitting here right now.
He and his family would move to 6 different cities before he finished the 8th grade. And it was while living in Gaithersburg, Maryland, that Scott and his brother would develop an avid interest in professional baseball.
This was back in the 80s, and, the Orioles were good. Cal Ripken Jr. and Eddie Murray and all those Orioles. I mean, once we got to 4th or 5th grade, if it wasn't playing baseball, it was watching baseball. If it wasn't watching baseball, it was baseball cards.
But then the family would move to Charlotte, and Scott was introduced to a strange culture where professional sports wasn't king.
My first day of junior high is in Charlotte, and it's the ACC basketball tournament, and the teacher wheels the TV in the classroom, and we're watching Carolina basketball. And I remember going home and telling my dad, these people are crazy. Like, who cares about college sports? That's, I'm not interested. And ironically, now look.
The two brothers would eventually go on to play collegiate baseball, with Scott heading to Campbell University. And it was during his senior season that the idea of coaching began to take shape.
I was told, hey, you'd be a great coach, but you're always going to cling to, I want to keep playing. And so my senior year, I actually fractured my wrist tagging a runner on a delayed steal. And so it ended sooner than I wanted it to, but it gave me a chance to kind of sit there and watch the game and say, okay, I'm graduating, in May. The clock is not stopping for me, and this is my 5th year, so I don't have a 6th year. What's next? And then you start thinking, hey, how can I stay around the game, and how can I maybe pass some things along? And one thing leads to another, and you're able to stay on the field. And then Wofford offers me a job, that pays $3,000 a year to be, a Division I full-time assistant coach. Yeah, I'm going, okay, I'm ready.
Scott would move up the assistant coaching ranks, becoming the pitching coach at Liberty University in 2008. But it was then that Mike Fox, the legendary head coach at North Carolina, offered him a job that he wasn't sure he was ready for.
I walk in the door, and they've been to Omaha 3 years in a row. 2 of them they've played for the national championship. Mike's just been named the National Coach of the Year. They're building a $25 million stadium. And here comes the pitching coach from Liberty to work with the hitters and be the recruiting coordinator at the University of North Carolina. First of all, why did you hire me, coach? It was, you look back on it, and I wasn't the sexy hire. I wasn't the big name. And so I walk in the door there, and I'm just trying not to get the train. Don't let the train get off the tracks. It's moving in the direction, and it's got a head of steam here, and we're moving. And I think Coach Fox was so unbelievably patient with me and really would put his arm around me and say, hey, I'm going to show you how we do it, and if you have any questions, let me know. It shaped me tremendously, and I sit up in my office now and I think back to my time there and some of the things that come out of my mouth and some of my reactions to things, and it's got a lot of Mike Fox in it.
The success and growth he experienced at UNC made Scott a natural candidate for head coaching positions. And yet, when the position at Liberty University opened up in 2016, at first, he had his doubts about making the move.
I can tell you, I wasn't dying to be a head coach. I loved it there. I loved UNC. I loved the people I worked with. You're not going to leave North Carolina for many places. And I came up here to interview and go through the process, and there's something different when you get here on this campus. There's something different about the people here. The facilities, yes, check. That's a box that's an easy check for us here. And then you start to look inside and you say, okay, there's a draw that brings you back here. And so I left and told my wife, I think we got a decision to make here. And so here we are.
As he has built his program at Liberty, Coach Jackson has done so with a holistic approach. Talent is key, but so too is understanding the big picture and the growth that a young athlete can experience as a member of the Flames.
To be able to sit down in front of a kid and his family and to say, do you really care about being who God created you to be, not just as a baseball player, but certainly outside of that, off the field, you're young. I'm sitting here talking to you about what it's going to be like 4 years from now when you're done playing here. That just doesn't resonate. That's not how athletes think, and so that's our job as coaches, and that's the most rewarding thing about being here. It's not perfect for everybody, but while you're here, we're going to push you in the right direction, and there's going to be routine, and there's going to be discipline, and there's going to be the things that you have to be successful in your life when you get done playing here.
Here comes Evans' attempt on 2-2. Ground ball to second. Wagner's got it. Throw to first. Flames win it!
Watching his players buy into what he is teaching them and then seeing them succeed on the field is the ultimate satisfaction for Coach Jackson. And as they have begun to win at a higher level, his expectation for what the Flames can become continues to rise as well.
You sit there and you talk about it over and over again, and you talk about it every day, and hey, do the right thing. And when they do it and they get it, and then you win and you get to watch the kids enjoy the elation of a championship and then go into the postseason, that 1 week stretch has been the most rewarding part of my career up to this point. The postseason is like a drug. You get addicted to it. You feel like you've failed if you don't go to the NCAA tournament. That's how I've always looked at it and how we're going to continue to look at it here, and let's get to a super.
Coming up, we introduce you to a champion bodybuilder who is now using his experiences to impact young people right here at Liberty.
It's all straight ahead when Flames Central returns.
A college degree is more than a diploma. It's taking control of your future and finding that next step. At Liberty University, we not only care about your career, we also care about your calling. And we want to help you learn, develop, and grow so you can make an impact as a champion for Christ. Over 450 online programs, one you, infinite possibilities.
God's calling for your life can be specific, and at Liberty, we're committed to equipping you to pursue that calling. Choose from more than 300 residential programs of study, or design your own major through interdisciplinary studies, and be confident your major is the perfect fit. No matter how specific your calling, you'll find a program of study to match at Liberty University, and become your best as a champion for Christ.
Hey, welcome back to the show. You know, it's not unusual to hear somebody talk about a calling on their life, maybe being called to the mission field or called into ministry. For Dave Hollis, he felt a call to be a bodybuilder, and as it turned out, this would become a ministry of its own.
I was about 18 and a half years old when I started. The motivating factor behind that was my dad. My dad was an undefeated bodybuilder and an Olympic weightlifter, Olympic-style weightlifter, and he died when I was 9 years old. And all I had was pictures of him. And like any boy, you want to be like your dad. And so that's what I wanted to do.
Dave Hollis had a dream to be a bodybuilder and follow in the footsteps of his role model. But in the beginning, he would realize that he couldn't do it on his own power.
I was training by myself, and we lived way out in the country. So there was no gyms, nothing. I was working out in my bedroom, basically. And so I sat on the end of a bench one day, and I said, Lord, if you want me to do this, please give me the discipline to do this. And from that moment to this day, I've always had that discipline, and it came from him. Around 19, I started competing in bodybuilding, drug-free bodybuilding.
And he found success, winning competitions and eventually breaking national records in the squat and bench press at the USPA drug-tested events. It would have been easy for him to see bodybuilding as a full-time career for himself, but it was Hollis's faith in God that would lead him in a different direction.
I try to do everything to glorify him. And I told him, I said, I will use this as a vehicle to reach others for Christ. And it was an absolute huge ministry. I was a youth pastor for 17 years. And so it was a big deal to be a bodybuilder and to have relatability with young people. They just thought that was so cool. And I had an in with, especially the football players. And I used that as a vehicle to develop a relationship with these young people, and in turn, to share Jesus with them. And so it gave me tremendous opportunity to share the gospel with the young people.
Helping others has always been important to Dave, but it wasn't long ago that he found himself as the one needing help.
I was getting ready to gear up to really go all out with the training and really set the records so high they wouldn't be broken for a long time. So one morning I wake up and my whole world just changed. And my face began to get numb. It began to drop. And I was like, what is going on here? I haven't been sick in years with anything. So healthy wise, it was just, I'm just not used to it. One eye would close and the other wouldn't close. And I'm like, this is not good. And that's when I went to urgent care. And they sent me right to the emergency room because they said, there's something wrong with this. This looks like a stroke. The surgeon asked me if I'd gotten bit by a tick. And I said, well, yeah, last year I did. And then he said, that tick has given you Lyme's disease. The Lyme's disease gave what you have is Bell's palsy, where your face is dropped. But what we found on the CT scan is you're not having a stroke. But what we did find is a cerebral arterial aneurysm. You cannot lift anymore. It says, you will die. There's no in between. That ruptures, you're gone, we can't save you. Nobody can save you. He said, you're gonna have to have surgery. All of a sudden I realized that, all this training has come to a halt. And what I've been telling the students and people for a long time, enjoy the health you have because you don't know what tomorrow holds, but you enjoy what you have right now. 3.5-hour surgery. They got the stent in and they repaired the aneurysm.
The surgery would save Dave's life and give him a life-changing story to share with others.
I thought I was done training, ever training again, powerlifting ever again. That was done, and I was okay with that. I really was. I was okay, and I said, whatever God do you have for me? I said, because everything I have is yours. And the great thing is how it's changed me. It's allowed me more opportunities to witness because of this. It's given me more to say as far as when people ask me about that and they say, you weren't worried at all? No. I says, I know where I'm going when I die. I have no doubt. And it's not because I'm a good person or any of that. It's because I place my faith and trust in Jesus Christ. What's the option? There is no other option. So I'm going to stay with God. I'm going to trust Him for everything, no matter what comes. I'm going to remain faithful. And that's where everything is. That's where it all begins and ends.
Today, at age 63, Dave is now a counselor at Liberty University, where you can still find him at the gym, pouring into others, engaging young bodybuilders in conversation that goes beyond the weights.
I just try to, build a little bridge, and so naturally the relationships just begin to build. We talk about physical things, we talk about training, and it just naturally opens up because we're in that environment. It's not like we're in the classroom, but we're just kind of doing life together in the gym, so it really opens up that opportunity. It's just a joy to me. It gives me that sense of purpose and significance. Just being here, serving, and developing relationships. I wouldn't train anywhere else.
When we come back, we'll wrap up this episode and tell you where you can find some great stories you might have missed. It's all straight ahead. You're watching Flame Central.
What is your dream? Your calling? What's the path to get there? It might be clear, or you might still be figuring it out. But at Liberty University, we want to empower you through every chapter of your story. Here, you can discover not just how to do things, but why to do them. And you'll have opportunities to practice and excel across different fields. And that doesn't just end at the classroom door. Your strengths and interests can also fuel your calling, and they embody more than just the classes you choose. So at Liberty, you can train, perfect, find a team to call your own at every skill level. There's more to your story than just the destination. It's reinventing, discovering, finding you are not alone as you chase your dreams. And those dreams don't have to wait until someday. At Liberty, we unite through Christ to pursue things larger than ourselves, to make a difference in both our communities and world, because in Him, we are able. So, what is your calling? Liberty University can fuel that calling, and your outcome will change the world.
At the fence, leaping! Wow! The 5, pylon, he's in!
Welcome back to the show. Sorry to say, we're about out of time for this week. But before we go, I want to remind you, libertyflamecentral.com. Check out the website for any of our stories that you might have missed.
Yeah, special show, though, for you next week. All the stories focused around Liberty football, so you're not going to want to miss that.
Football season right around the corner. Cannot wait. Well, he's Rhett. I'm Matt. Thank you so much for watching this week. We'll plan on seeing you right back here at Flame Central next time.